because trust is one of the most fundamental needs in any kind of relationship, whether it friendship, romantic, or familial. I'll be talking about 10 traits of individuals that, in the words of Stoic philosophy, you should never trust in this video. First, to ascertain whether a person possesses any of these traits, I'm going to highlight that, although it's very straightforward, observation is important. Simply examine the individual's behavior and words to gain a sense of who they are and what their essence is. To be clear, I will discuss each of these people and explain why you shouldn't trust them. Before we start, please make sure you have subscribed to the channel. Watch all the way through because I have a special treat for you at the conclusion. As always, don't be weak. Stick with it through. Those with narcissism. Moving on, let's discuss the first category of narcissists while interacting with narcissistic people. The Stoics would remind us how crucial it is to keep our inner serenity unaffected by the actions of others. We may keep our mental calm in the face of their vanity by learning to be indifferent to their self-centered behavior. Consider it. Someone who always talks about themselves and shows little concern for other people is not someone you should trust, since they are self-centered and constantly put their own wants first. You can never trust narcissistic people, no matter who they are, because they think their own image is the most important thing in the world. They don't want anyone to be better or equal to them, and they will stop at nothing to improve their self-image. This compulsive act of desiring and admiring oneself is very dangerous because you never know what a person like that is capable of. People who constantly talk about themselves and try to force their opinions on others without listening to others are usually the kind of people who blame others for their own mistakes. As a result, you should never trust them because they may harm you in order to further their own agendas. Gossip. The gossip is the second category of people. Stoicism also teaches us how to handle unkind remarks and rumors from others. Stoics stressed the importance of not giving in to other people's opinions of us. If someone divulges secrets or shares information about another person, it's very likely that they will do the same to you, gossiping behind your back about you and your life. Trust me, this kind of thing is almost guaranteed to occur when someone gossips. Don't assume that someone won't divulge your secrets to others simply because they are your buddy. This is not just a habit. It's an activity, done for sheer enjoyment. The only benefit of gossiping is that you may use it to your advantage if you want the information to go out there. Otherwise, all you have to do is pass along the gossip, and they will take care of the rest. Embarrassing. When it comes to dealing with obnoxious or manipulative people, the third kind is the one that annoys you all the time. Stoicism provides us with the exercise of introspection. Rather of responding in an emotional manner, we might pause and consider how our own interpretations and responses impact the circumstance. It's one thing to quickly lose patience with someone when you're going through a difficult period in your life. Not because of the individual, but rather because of the daily stress you're experiencing. A completely different scenario arises when you're calmer, but find yourself getting agitated around the same person all the time. If that person is able to consistently irritate you, it's because they gently provoke you by hurling ideas that confound you and gently stoke your doubts in small doses so that you're unable to fully comprehend their psychological and emotional games. Be wary of these subtle little games, because believe me, there are people who act in this manner just for fun. Unlock your full potential by clicking the link in the first pinned comment to Curious. The sixth kind is curious. From a Stoic standpoint, it's critical to establish limits in discussions and share information with caution. Stoic advises avoiding those with excessive interest since this may result in the revelation of damaging facts. Furthermore, this curiosity may be connected to envy, so you should always be wary of whom you disclose information to. After all, you can't be certain that someone won't misuse it in the future. If someone consistently shows curiosity about something, it's best to keep your distance from them or to not trust them. That being said, it's crucial to clarify that excessive curiosity should not be confused with present-day conversation. What I mean by this is that, of course, while you're chatting to a friend or getting to know them better, they could occasionally want to find out more about you by inquiring about your life, including your job, studies, and regular activities. A conversation, but you should be aware that the curious one is the person who will constantly inquire about your life and occasionally touch on delicate subjects. For instance, the person may inquire about your salary, which is already a bit odd to ask. If you choose to decline and change the topic, the person may ask the same question again. This is the person to whom we should be cautious before lending our trust. Therefore, you should not only not trust this person, but also, if you have the chance, keep your distance from them. The seventh type is the one who is friends with everyone. Stoicism would remind us that we are powerless, how we are seen by others rather than aiming for universal acceptance. The Stoics stress the value of developing genuineness. Unlock your full potential by clicking the link in the first pinned comment to Curious. The sixth kind is curious. From a Stoic standpoint, it's critical to establish limits in discussions and share information with caution. Stoic advises avoiding those with excessive interest since this may result in the revelation of damaging facts. Furthermore, this curiosity may be connected to envy, so you should always be wary of whom you disclose information to. After all, you can't be certain that someone won't misuse it in the future. If someone consistently shows curiosity about something, it's best to keep your distance from them or to not trust them. That being said, it's crucial to clarify that excessive curiosity should not be confused with present-day conversation. What I mean by this is that, of course, while you're chatting to a friend or getting to know them better, they could occasionally want to find out more about you by inquiring about your life, including your job, studies, and regular activities. A conversation, but you should be aware that the curious one is the person who will constantly inquire about your life and occasionally touch on delicate subjects. For instance, the person may inquire about your salary, which is already a bit odd to ask. If you choose to decline and change the topic, the person may ask the same question again. This is the person to whom we should be cautious before lending our trust. Therefore, you should not only not trust this person, but also, if you have the chance, keep your distance from them. The seventh type is the one who is friends with everyone. Stoicism would remind us that we are powerless, how we are seen by others rather than aiming for universal acceptance. The Stoics stress the value of developing genuineness. I'm not saying we should judge someone just because they have these characteristics. Rather, I want to advise not to trust people blindly because someone who smiles at everyone, tries to please everyone, and always makes promises has the sole goal of being popular. In summary, this type of person wants to be the popular one. Who hasn't met someone like that who wishes the best for everyone, hugs everyone, and says that you can always count on them? Center of attention, therefore, in their eyes, you are just another person, just another number, someone who can be won over. People who live in delusion and want attention are those who are doing this. Since of this, it's wise to be cautious at all times, since extroverted individuals who aspire to be very popular have a tendency to replace others rapidly, and you may be the next one. The eighth kind is the critic, who is always finding fault with things, especially with other people. Stoics place a strong emphasis on the value of ongoing self-evaluation rather than criticizing others. Instead, the Stoic focus is on developing our own character and improving ourselves. If someone spends a lot of time criticizing others, usually through gossip, rumors, or even attempts to damage someone's reputation, they are probably the kind of person with a negative persona. I suppose that if you are a respectable person with things to do in life like working, taking care of your own route, and paying expenses, you probably won't go about talking and spreading stories about others. However, if you go around speaking poorly of people and spending time on gossip, what I'm trying to say is that people who constantly criticize other people's lives obviously don't have anything better to do and are unhappy enough to say needless things about other people. As a result, you should be wary of and show consideration for people who act this way, because if someone can speak poorly of others, they can also speak poorly of you. If you've made it this far, congratulations. Please leave a comment below if you were up until this point trusting and respecting someone who possessed some of these qualities. But don't worry, I have 2 more categories of individuals to show you. Issues. People who are always immersed in several issues make up the 9th category. Stoics advise us to own up to our feelings and decisions rather than placing the blame on fate or outside forces. These individuals claim to have bad luck, live with problems and intrigues, and believe that life is a punishment. They claim that every day brings new difficulties and consequences, and they are there to tell everyone that everything is difficult and that they don't know what's going on. In conclusion, be wary of this type of person. There's nothing wrong with being suspicious, because if the person is full of problems, it's not a good sign. It's not a coincidence. Rather, it's the person sabotaging themselves every day. They probably make bad decisions, fail to learn from their mistakes, and lack emotional self-control. For this reason, I advise you to be wary of this kind of person because, if you identify with their difficult and depressing life story to the extent that you constantly want to help, their problem could easily become your problem. So proceed with caution. People who gather tragedies and hurdles like this only have one real challenge, which is themselves, and I assume you don't want that challenge at your side. Act as though you're listening. People who pretend to listen to you in situations when others pretend to listen make up the 10th category. Stoicism would advise us to be bold and, if needed, remove ourselves from discussions that don't advance our lives. The worst thing is when someone talks about what they want, and when it's your turn to speak, they just pretend to listen, get distracted by their phone, or agree without really caring about what you're saying. You know that type of person who, when you say something and try to share an idea, responds with a simple, "Yes, I understand that's true," and nothing more. Put another way, they heard you, but they're not really listening. Let's face it, for a conversation to exist, the other person has to pay attention to what you're saying. Therefore, if you ever find yourself in a conversation with someone and they're not paying attention, or worse, if they're using their phone while you're speaking, it's obvious that they're not paying attention. Just end the conversation. Speaking with walls is not worthwhile. Don't waste your time if the other person isn't listening to you or is simply acting like they are. You don't have to spend your time with individuals who aren't interested in what you have to say. If that's the case, get up and tell them you're going. To sum up, in the quest for more genuine and meaningful relationships, examining the various kinds of people who can betray trust teaches us important lessons. By implementing Stoic teachings, we learn to uphold our inner peace, cultivate virtue, practice authenticity, and exercise self-control in trying circumstances. This concludes our video for today. I sincerely hope you find these tips helpful. Remember, you are an important part of this channel, so if this video helped you think or learn something, please leave a like and a comment so that more people can discover the power of Stoic wisdom. If you are at a loss for words, try writing something like, "Dare me motivational," to let me know you made it to the end. If you haven't subscribed yet, please remember that every little step counts in your personal development. Continue on your path to triumph, and I appreciate your attention. I pray that everyone is with the Creator.